Have you ever played hide and seek? Your friends go and hide. You can't see them, but they're still in existence, right? Your friends are physically in exist, like are there, but you just can't see them, right? It's the same thing with micronutrients. I've been taking vitamin D for a couple of months now, and I didn't feel anything. Like I don't feel like better, like way better now. Well, I do, but that's not because like I'm taking vitamin D. It's because I'm like improving myself and stuff. But it's not like I don't feel like benefits of it, but I know it's still there. I know it's still doing something. I know it's still like benefiting me in some way. Like, so it's not like when you're hungry. So it's not like when when you're hungry, when you eat and then you eat food and your hunger goes away. You don't feel hungry anymore. It's not like that with micronutrients are mostly like invisible to you. You don't feel any different like after taking like a vitamin or a mineral or supplements. You don't like only with some like ibuprofen obviously, but like vitamins like micronutrient like supplements. You don't feel like different after them for some like you don't feel different after you take like a micronutrient supplement. It's just not like it doesn't work like that. So, there are macro and micronutrients. So macronutrients they're caloric, meaning they have calories, which means like they give you energy. They're required in like pretty large amounts. So, like many grams, like hundreds of grams. And they're carbs, protein, fat, and alcohol. So those are the four macronutrients. But then there's micronutrients. So these are not caloric, so they don't have any calories. They don't like give you energy, and they're also like don't contribute to like calories. They're only required in tiny amounts, so like really small amounts, so like micrograms and milligrams, like even some are like nanograms, but micrograms and milligrams are like the what do you call it? The measurement for like the amount you eat usually. So saying that micronutrients don't matter because you don't feel them is like saying, oh, well, I can't see my friend right now, so I guess he doesn't exist. Like, that's some baby-ass logic. Like, come on, man. Did you know that babies actually, the reason they get so hyped like, when you play, like, peekaboo with them, is literally because when they can't see you, they think you disappeared. That is, like, literally, like, that's why babies get so hyped because of that. If it's the same thing, if you might think micros don't matter because you can't like see them or feel them, that's like calling yourself a baby. Or you're just uneducated. That too. You could be uneducated. If you're a baby, I can't really help you, but if you're uneducated, I can help you. I can educate on you on micronutrients, and they're actually like important. I mean, it's a really overlooked like topic, like a lot of the time, because it's just like a lot of people don't think it's important, and a lot of people don't care about their health anyway, and then even the people that care about their health it's not that important, micronutrients or whatever, they're just little things, whatever. But micronutrients so important to your health, and yeah, so many people lack essential nutrients because of their diet. So many people just lack like essential nutrients. They're essential nutrients, like you literally need them. Some of them you need for your like a healthy like life. Some of them you need for a healthy life. Some of them are like benefit you a lot. and it gives you, like, it makes you so healthy, and just, like, a way better life, more longevity. And so highly processed Western diets rarely, you can't get, like, many micros from a McDonald's burger. You can't get that many calories. Or not calories, but actually you can very easily. But you can't get many micronutrients from, like, a Wendy's Frosty. Oh yeah, there's calcium in the ice cream, in the milk. Shut up. Sure, yeah, there's calcium in the milk, but there's also sugar in, and there's also, it's really unhealthy. You're not gonna find many micronutrients in, like, these, processed, ultra processed, like, foods in the Western diet. It's not, the McDonald's burger has protein, bro. Just shut the fuck and get some discipline, man. Just get some discipline, like, that you're just coping. Like, let's be honest. Yeah, the McDonald's burger has protein, but you're just coping. You know it's unhealthy. You're coping that because you just like the McDonald's. You're just coping. Oh, it has protein. Shut up. You're really gonna let some random ass 13-year-old on YouTube just, like, pass you in the ranks of, like, men. You're really just gonna let some 13-year-old pass you in the ranks of, like, health. Like, come on, bro. Imagine, like, living for way longer than someone else, and they're just, like, way more wise than you. Like, that just, to me, that would just feel like shit. That would just feel like shit. So many people neglect a healthy diet. It's just, like, so many people neglect, like, a healthy diet and micronutrients just because it doesn't affect them right now. Just because you don't get fat right now doesn't mean you're not going to be fat later. You're going to be fat later anyway. You're going to be fat later. You're going to be, like, more, like, you might have diabetes. Like, you're going to have all these health conditions. You're going to get your major health scares. And it's not going to be fun because you're going to realize that maybe you've seen, if you've ever seen, like, some old man who's, like, wise and, like, oh, he messed up so much in his childhood, he's like, oh no, I wish I would have worked harder, I wish I would have, like, had a better diet when I was, a child, because, then I wouldn't be so, like, hunched over and old and stuff. When you get older, you're gonna regret having a unhealthy diet and neglecting your micronutrients. They're just so important for your health, and it's so neglected. I think the world is gonna, like, suffer a lot from this. Or the West, sorry. It's mostly, like, the West, like, the Western countries that are messing up, like, because they, all the ultra-processed food and, like, the fast food and stuff, it's messed up. So, if you consume a deficiency of micros, your long-term health will be a chunk worse, will be, like, a solid chunk worse. So why take the risk? Why take the risk of, neglecting your micronutrients? Oh, just because the ice cream is tasty right now. It's not going to be tasty later. Like, the ice cream is not going to be tasty when you're fat. You're going to regret, like, eating the Burger King. You're going to regret eating all this shit, sugar and stuff. You're going to regret it in some point in your life, and you're going to say, why did I do that? Just because it's pleasureful right now. Just because it tastes good. Eat for nutrients, not for taste. Eat for health, not for taste. So, I hope I've convinced you that macros aren't the only thing that matter. Like, if it fits your macros, there's this thing called if it fits your macros, where people they think you can eat whatever you want as long as you get your macronutrients, as long as you get your macros in. Like, oh, you can eat whatever as long as it fits your macros. Macronutrients, obviously, right? Macronutrients are not the only thing that matters. Micronutrients are just as important. Although macronutrients are important, I will say that. But micronutrients are just as important, and it's so neglected a lot more than like macronutrients, right? Because they're bigger and you can see them and you feel full from them. It's like micros are so much more, like, not more, but it's so important. So now let's get into the real meat. Actually, a lot of people will click off. Like, a lot of people will click off during the meat because maybe it's like it gets boring or something. Like, maybe the video gets boring. Maybe the video gets boring and repetitive. Like, it might get. I'll try not to make it boring, like, but it might get a little bit boring because it's kind of a little bit repetitive. I'm just giving you like basic information, not basic information, but like information just like over and over and over in like the same format. So it might get a little bit boring, but who cares? Because this shit's so important to your health, and I don't see anywhere else on YouTube. I don't see anywhere else on YouTube. Just like fight through the boredom. Fight through your boredom, because I literally looked. I could not find like this much knowledge about this topic anywhere else on YouTube. I had to do so much research. It took me a week. It took me over a week to make this like script and doing all the research and trying to like record this video. It took me a week and hours of time. So just to put all this knowledge together into a 1 or 2 hour long video that you can watch for free easily. Just in your free time. You can watch this for free. I did all this research for you, and it's all for free, just in this 1 or 2 hour long video for you. So just fight through your boredom, because you'll be happy you watched this when your diet is better and you're more attractive. There are 2 types of micronutrients: vitamins and minerals. So, a lot of people don't know the difference between vitamins and minerals. They're just like, oh, they're micronutrients. But vitamins are basically organic substances. So that means it comes from like plants or animals. So it's already in the plant or animal. A mineral is an inorganic substance. So it's not like living. It doesn't come from living animals. It comes from the water and the soil. So it's like absorbed by plants in the water and soil, or eaten by animals. So let's start with vitamins. There are 2 types of solubility in vitamins. There's water soluble and fat soluble. Water soluble means the vitamin is dissolvable in water, basically piss, so you excrete it out and it's hard to consume. It's hard to consume too much of because you just excrete out the rest of it. You just piss out like the excess water soluble vitamins, so your body uses it, and then the rest that it doesn't need, it doesn't like harm you, it basically just goes out in your piss. But fat soluble means the vitamin absorbs into your fat or your liver, and it's used for purposes. So it's much easier to consume too much of fat soluble vitamins, since you don't like get rid of the excess. You just need to consume the right amount. Also, with some vitamin labels, it will say how much the vitamin is in IUs. Only for some of them. Like, IUs is basically an international unit. The definition, I don't understand the definition. IUs are a unit of measurement for the effect or biological activity of substance. I don't know what the hell that means either. So I'll just explain how much, like, 1,000 IUs of all the vitamins are that use IUs. So just so you know, like, know what it means on the label when it says like how many IUs and stuff. So let's start with vitamin A, also called retinol. So retinol is a fat soluble vitamin that is stored in your liver. Vitamin A supports healthy growth, eye health, immune system, and skin. Its main like use is healthy vision for most. That's like the main thing it's for. Also, for vitamin A, you need to know what carotenoids are. carotenoids are basically these things called phytonutrients, which are like nutrients found in plants. They're not essential, but they are like very beneficial to health. So phytonutrients. So carotenoids are phytonutrients, and more specifically, they're like red pigments found in fruits and veggies like peppers and tomatoes, but it can also be dark green. So carotenoids are converted by your body. When you consume carotenoids, it's converted by your body into vitamin A. So it's basically just vitamin A, except it's not vitamin A until it enters your body. When vitamin A is from plants, it has carotenoids. Any form of carotenoids. If there's vitamin A in a plant, it is in the form of carotenoids. It's always in the form of carotenoids. If it's from animals, it's already in its retinol form. It's already vitamin A in the food. So if you eat like a piece of steak, right? Or for example, actually no, not steak. If you eat an eggs, for example, there's already retinol in there. There's already vitamin A in there. But if you eat, for example, like squash, like orange squash, butternut squash, it has carotenoids in there. So it doesn't have vitamin A in there yet, but once you eat it, it converts into vitamin A. So good sources of vitamin A. Oh, no, sorry. If something has vitamin A in it, it's gonna say on the label it has either beta-carotene, alpha-carotene, retinol acetate, retinol palmitate, or beta-cryptoxanthin, or just vitamin A, obviously. You need roughly 700 to 1,300 micrograms per day. So but you also don't want to exceed 3,000 micrograms per day, since it's a fat-soluble vitamin. 1,000 IUs of vitamin A. So IUs actually exist for vitamin A. So 1,000 IUs of vitamin A is 300 micrograms. So about 2,000 to 4,500 IUs of vitamin A daily. But don't exceed 10,000 IUs of vitamin A per day, because that's 3,000 micrograms. Now, good sources of vitamin A are, well, the good animal sources are poultry liver, baked eel, eggs, goat cheese, and salmon. But good plant sources of vitamin A are sweet potato, pumpkin, carrot, squash, spinach, apricots, cantaloupe, and mangoes. So these are all things that either have a dark green, like spinach, pigment, or dark green, like spinach, or have a red, orange, yellow pigment, like, mangoes, cantaloupe, carrots, pumpkins, like sweet potato, squash. All this stuff has the red, yellow pigments in them, like, which make them orange and red and stuff. So vitamin A is in orange and red, and yellow, like veggies and fruits, and also in some like eggs and goat cheese and salmon and baked eel and poultry liver. I don't know, baked eel. Don't ask me, okay? I didn't even know that existed before this video. Also, as we go along with this, go along with this video, when I name off some sources of these micros that you might want to eat and add to your diet, ooh, maybe sweet potato. Maybe you don't eat sweet potatoes yet, but maybe a potato that's sweet sounds pretty good. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe that's how I can get my vitamin A for the day. So you can kind of note down a couple things that you for vitamins that you don't eat them, and maybe you'd like to add them to your diet. Maybe they sound good. So take some notes, right? Another name for vitamin B1 is thiamine or thiamine. So, okay, all the B vitamins, there's a ton of B vitamins. I think 8 or 9 of them. All the B vitamins are important for converting carbs into energy, and there are a lot of B vitamins, so stay tuned. All the B vitamins are also water soluble, so this means you excrete them out and it's hard to consume too much of. Vitamin B1 prevents beriberi, which is just a deficiency of vitamin B1, which affects your nerve system or heart. There's two types of beriberi. There's dry and wet or something. One of them affects your nerve system, one of them affects your heart. So vitamin B1 enhances your brain function, your heart health, and your nerve health. So B1's main use is nerve health and metabolism. So metabolism of carbs to energy. So you need around 900 to 1200 micrograms of thiamine a day. There's not really a cap because there's no side effects. You just piss the excess out. So there's not really a cap to the amount you should eat. Also, IUs don't exist for all the B vitamins, like thiamine, for example, right? Sources of vitamin B1 are pork, salmon, mussels, legumes, not these mussels, the mussel, like the shellfish, right? Legumes, whole grains, asparagus, eggs, acorn squash, and watermelon. I eat a lot of watermelon, so I guess it's tasty. And it's like my candy, because I don't eat candy, right? So, watermelon's like my candy. It's healthy, too, so. Vitamin B2 is also called riboflavin. Or, I don't even know if that's how you say riboflavin. That's how I say it, anyway. B2 works to reduce your nerve inflammation, your oxidative stress, create red blood cells, and treats your headaches. Its main use is red blood cell creation and metabolism of carbs. B2 is recognized as vitamin B2 or riboflavin. It doesn't have a precursor, which is a precursor is basically carotenoids, for example, for vitamin A. Carotenoids are precursor of vitamin A because they convert into vitamin A eventually, but they're not vitamin A yet. So vitamin B2 doesn't have a precursor, or if it does, it's some really complicated names, which I'm not going to say, which you won't even remember anyway. B2 is just recognized as vitamin B2 or riboflavin. You need around 1,000 to 1,300 micrograms a day of riboflavin, no more than 100 milligrams. You're probably not going to be consuming that much vitamin B2 unless you eat a lot of almonds. So yeah, no more than 100 milligrams a day, but that's so high just because it's a B vitamin, it's water soluble. Good sources of vitamin B2 are beef, salmon, mushrooms, dairy, pork, spinach, almonds, avocados, and eggs. There's a lot of... So far, all of them have eggs. Vitamin B3 is also called niacin. So vitamin B3 is used by the body for making lipids. So lipids are either fat or cholesterol. That's what a lipid is. It's fat or cholesterol. So vitamin B3 aids in the creation of fat and cholesterol. Where was I? Nervous system health, digestive health, and skin health. The main uses for it are metabolism and lipid creation. You'll see vitamin B3 on food labels as vitamin B3, niacin, niacinamide, and nicotinamide. Also, the amino acid tryptophan, which can make up protein. So amino acids, I talked about this before, but amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So tryptophan is a type part of protein. Is also a precursor of vitamin B3, so that's pretty cool. The body needs about 10 to 18 milligrams of niacin per day, depending on your situation. So no more than 500 milligrams per day. IUs also don't exist for vitamin B3, like all the B vitamins. Good sources of niacin are tuna, chicken, pork, beef, mushrooms, whole grain, peanuts, peas, and sweet potatoes. And the fourth B vitamin is vitamin B5. Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me. The scientific name for vitamin B5 is pantothenic acid. It's involved in making red blood cells, can be used for skincare, and even makes steroid hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone, and also cortisol. main uses are metabolism and skincare, but the important one that we care about is hormone production, because testosterone. You'll see B5 on the food label as vitamin B5, pantothenic acid, or pantothenate, like calcium pantothenate or something. There's no precursors to this either. You should have 5 to 7 milligrams a day, depending on your situation, but there's not really an upper limit. Again, like it's said, like around 10 to 20 grams to have diarrhea, but like no one's eating 10 to 20 grams of vitamin B5. No one's eating 10 to 20 grams of vitamin, so I don't think that's much of a big of a deal for you anyway. So IUs only exist for vitamin A, D, E, and B9, so I'm not going to keep saying IUs don't exist for this one. Like, oh, IUs don't exist for this one. Like, I'm not going to keep saying that, because IUs only exist for, actually, no, not B9, sorry. Vitamin A, D, E. Those are the only ones with IUs, so I'm just going to say for that one. Good sources of vitamin B5 are broccoli, avocado, organ meats, eggs, dairy, peanuts, peas, and corn. On to vitamin B6 or pyridoxine. Uses of pyridoxine are brain development, nervous system health, and immune health. Its main uses are metabolism and brain health. You'll see B6 labeled as vitamin B6 pyridoxine. That's it. There's no precursor. You should have 1,300 to 1,700 micrograms per day, depending on your age. Too much is 60 to 100 milligrams per day, also depending on age. So good sources of this are pistachios, garlic, tuna, beef liver, nuts, bananas, pork, eggs, spinach, and avocados. The scientific name for B7 is biotin. Biotin is good for preventing hair loss and regulating blood sugar. Its main uses are metabolism and hair loss prevention. So old people, listen in. B7 shows up as B7 biotin. It actually used to be vitamin H. So vitamin B7 used to be vitamin H. Now there's no vitamin H. So that's what happened. 300 to 100 micrograms per day. There's no upper limit again, because it's a B vitamin. It's water soluble. Good sources of biotin are liver, eggs, nuts, barley, sardines, corn, almonds, and mushrooms. So there are a lot of things with eggs and cheese. And the 7th B vitamin is vitamin B9. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't ask me where 4, 8, 10, and 11 went. Oh yeah, there's also no vitamin B10 or B11, so that's cool. The second name for vitamin B9 is folic acid. Folic acid is important in forming red blood cells and brain health. Also, it increases the chances of a healthy child during pregnancy, so that's pretty cool. Its main uses are metabolism and formation of red blood cells. To know if there's vitamin B9 in something, like look on the label for vitamin B9, folic acid, but there's also like some other ones. Folate DFE, which means dietary folate equivalents. So, that means like anything that'll be like become folate in your body. So to know if you should get around 300 to 600 micrograms per day of vitamin B9. By the way, I have my notes here, so that's why I'm looking down so much. No, because I'm not gonna remember this shit. No more than 1,000 micrograms or 1 milligram. So this one's actually kind of like, even though it's a water soluble vitamin, there's still like a kind of an upper limit that's pretty close. So it's 1,000 micrograms, or also 1 milligram, which is the same thing. Good sources of vitamin B9 are wheat germ, liver, legumes, spinach, nuts, broccoli, avocados, and asparagus. And the final B vitamin, vitamin B12, or also called cobalamin. B12 is important in the production of DNA, RNA. It also supports bone health, nerve health, and aids in the production of red blood cells, like a lot of the B vitamins, and regulates your energy and mood. The main uses are metabolism and production of DNA and RNA. How to know if something has vitamin B12 in it? If it says vitamin B12 or cobalamin, that's it. Those are the only things that'll say if it has vitamin B12 in it. You need around this is the least amount you need for any micronutrient. You need the least cobalamin of any micronutrient, even the very small trace minerals and the trace vitamins. You need the least of vitamin B12 in your body of any micronutrient. So, 2,400 nanograms. I'll say that again. 2,400 nanograms. This is the only one in nanograms of vitamin B12, which is also 2.4 micrograms. So, up to, you can only, you can consume up to 2,000 micrograms or 2 milligrams, that's not happening because no one's eating that much meat. Cobalamin is the only vitamin that is only found in animal sources, so you'll never find vitamin B12 in plant sources unless it's fortified in there, put in there. For example, I have some oat milk in the kitchen. It's fortified with vitamin B12 because vegans and stuff. Natural sources of cobalamin are meat, poultry, eggs, dairy, seafood. So basically just animal sources, and any animal product that has cobalamin in it. It can also be found in some fortified cereals and milks and stuff, for vegan milks and stuff though, right? Also, you're really fucked if you're vegan, damn. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. So finally we're done with all the B vitamins. There are 12 B vitamins, which is crazy, but jeez. Oh, how many B vitamins are there? Bro, fuck. Jeez, bro. I like how all the B vitamins take up more than half of the vitamins in existence. Bro, come on, man. Alright, on to vitamin C, or ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is a water-soluble vitamin that is necessary for growth, development, and repair of all body tissues, the formation of collagen, absorption of iron, immune system function, and bone maintenance. There are a lot of things that vitamin C does, yes. The main purpose is growth and repair of body tissue, which is very important for healing and stuff. If something has vitamin C, it'll say it's also good for muscles, because that's how you gain muscles. You have tiny tears in your body tissue and it grows and repairs it. So vitamin C is pretty good for muscle building also, which is, yeah. If something has vitamin C, it'll say vitamin C, ascorbic acid, or ascorbate. So calcium ascorbate, sodium ascorbate, something like that. Also 70 to 120 milligrams per day, and no more than 2,000 milligrams or 2 grams, which is actually possible because you consume a lot of vitamin C, 70 to 100 milligrams. I think that might the most of any vitamin, not the most of any micronutrient, of course, because you consume a lot more minerals than vitamins. Vitamins are all more trace. Vitamin C sources include mainly fruits, and then veggies. So, basically all the fruits are a good source of vitamin C. So, the main source of vitamin C is, fruit. So, mainly citrus fruit and strawberries. Also, bananas have some, blueberries have some. Watermelon has a little bit. So, vitamin C, basically, all fruit. Tomatoes, which is, again, a fruit, but whatever. Potatoes, broccoli, spinach, and Brussels sprouts. So, basically just fruits and veggies. Now on to vitamin D, which is probably the most important vitamin, I'd say. So, vitamin D is also called calciferol. So, it's fat-soluble, so it absorbs into your fat tissue and your liver, and it's much easier to consume too much of. There are 2 types of vitamin D. There's vitamin D2, which is called ergocalciferol, and vitamin D3, which is the more common one called cholecalciferol. So the main difference is that vitamin D just lasts longer, and like more calciferol is actually put into your bloodstream. So also D2 comes from plants, D3 comes from animals. So many people lack vitamin D because so many people are busy sitting in their gaming chair all day, like playing video games, not getting sunlight. Vitamin D is important for bone health, immune function, and aids in the production of testosterone. Yeah. Main function is bone health, though. Yeah, testosterone. If something has vitamin D, it'll say vitamin D, ergocalciferol, or cholecalciferol. It's recommended that you, or vitamin D2, vitamin D3, right? It's recommended that you have around 10 to 20 micrograms per day. Don't have more than 100 micrograms per day. So I actually take vitamin D, I take vitamin D. So one pill is 1,000 IUs. So, wait, okay, IUs, hold on, I didn't explain that yet. So, vitamin D actually has international units, so 1,000 IUs of vitamin D is basically 25 micrograms, so you need around 500 to 800 IUs per day. I take vitamin D, I take vitamin D, and one pill of mine is 1,000 IUs, so I have more vitamin D that says is good, like, I take 25 micrograms of vitamin D per day, and then I'm also outside a lot, so I'm definitely good on vitamin D. The most common and plentiful source of vitamin D is by far sunlight. When the UV rays, like, from the sun hit your skin, your skin actually produces vitamin D as a result. So, but it can come from some foods. It's mainly sunlight, though. The only natural food sources of vitamin D is fatty fish, but it can come in some like fortified milk and orange juice, although you shouldn't drink orange juice anyway because it's sugar and the fiber's not in there, so it's basically just soda, except not carbonated. Vitamin E or tocopherol. Have you ever looked at the ingredient list and at the very end, like at the last ingredient, at the least of, it says mixed tocopherols? That's vitamin E. Those are like different tocopherols, different vitamin E, like forms of it. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble vitamin that mainly acts as an antioxidant that protects cells by fighting off free radicals. So antioxidants, the other antioxidant vitamins are vitamin C and vitamin B2. Basically, it protects cells by fighting off free radicals, which are like free like electrons, like that aren't even on like an atom. They're just like try and kill your cells for some reason. I don't know. They're kind of our enemy, which antioxidants helps with that. So vitamin E is an antioxidant. There are different names for vitamin E, but the precursor to tocopherol is alpha tocopherol, and there are two types of alpha tocopherol. So there's RRR alpha tocopherol, which is commonly called D alpha tocopherol. So anything with D alpha tocopherol, that's vitamin E. And then there's RAC alpha tocopherol, which is commonly known as DL alpha tocopherol. D alpha tocopherol is more common as it's the natural version. So it's found in like food and like natural supplements and stuff. DL alpha tocopherol is less common as it's synthetic and mainly found in supplements, like in man-made products. The daily recommendation for vitamin E is around 15 to 20 micrograms per day, so around the amount of vitamin D you get vitamin E, and no more than 1,000 milligrams per day, which it's fine. You'll be fine. The 1,000 IUs of vitamin E is 670 milligrams, so you only need about 20 to 30 IUs of vitamin E per day. No more than 1,000. You don't want more than 1,490 IUs of vitamin E daily. Very specific number. The best source of vitamin E is by far nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds oil. Okay. And also vegetable oil. Nuts and seeds have about 2 to 5 times more than 3rd, 4th, and 5th place for vitamin E quantity. So they're like by far the most. And then the second best source is actually vegetable oils, but vegetable oils are bad for like other reasons. Like, even though a lot of people say they're healthy and stuff, but vegetable oils are nasty. Seed oils, basically seed oils and like soybean oil and like rice bran oil and stuff. Vegetable oils, unhealthy, even though they have like vitamin E and they're healthy. No, they're not. They're not healthy, but fruit oils are good. So, which are the same exact amount of vitamin E as vegetable oils. Fruit oils doesn't mean like strawberry and blueberry and banana oil. I mean like avocado and olive oil, which are fruits technically. Alright, those are good sources of vitamin E, and they're actually healthy. Like, they're actually healthy. The secondary good source of vitamin E are green leafy vegetables, squash, kiwi, and mangoes. Also avocados and olives, but we kind of already said that. So, okay. And the last vitamin. Vitamin K has 3 main types. Vitamin K1, K2, and K3. So vitamin K1 is found in green leafy vegetables. Vitamin K2 is found in fermented and some animal products. And vitamin K3 is artificial, so it's found in supplements and other artificial vitamin K products. So vitamin K1 is called phylloquinone. I think that's how you say it, which is our primary source in our diet. Vitamin K2 is called menaquinone, which is our secondary source in our diet. And then vitamin K3, the artificial one, is called menadione. So it's like a little bit different, different name and stuff. It's artificial, right? The thing with K1 is that only 10 to 15% of it actually gets like absorbed by our body. So even though it's our primary source of vitamin K, vitamin K2 is almost all absorbed. So even if K1 is our primary dietary source of vitamin K, that the amount that actually gets absorbed is closer to equal, like vitamin K1 and K2, unless you don't eat animal products, which obviously, yeah. What does vitamin K actually do, though? What does vitamin K actually do? Well, vitamin K is important mainly for blood clotting, but some research has shown it can make healthier bones. It doesn't prevent bone deterioration, but healthier bones basically. And you need about 90 to 120 micrograms of vitamin K per day. No more than 1,000 micrograms or 1 milligram, because it will likely cause some harm, because it's fat soluble. Vitamin K does make blood thinners unworkable, since it's for blood clotting. So limit your vitamin K if you're on blood thinner medications, because it doesn't work when you have a lot of vitamin K. Maybe there's a little bit of vitamin K, but stay away from it. The best sources of vitamin K1 are green leafy veggies, and mainly just veggies in general. Like carrots aren't green leafy veggies, but they have good amount of vitamin K, so mainly just veggies in general. The best sources of vitamin K2, though, are eggs, dairy, chicken, and liver. Also, there's fermented, there's this thing called natto, which is a Japanese dish. It's very high in vitamin K2, but it's fermented soybeans, and soybeans are unhealthy, so I didn't say that as a good source, because it's not a good source. Well, yeah, it is a good source, but it's not good, so I didn't say that. Finally done with all the vitamins. Now we're onto the minerals. Are you guys ready? No, I'm not either. Also, by the way, again, if you're getting bored by this, by now, which you might be, let's be honest, you probably are, don't click off. A lot of people are going to click off in this section, because sometimes it might get a little repetitive, even in the vitamin section it did. But let's be honest, the people who click off here have low attention span and probably watch TikTok and YouTube Shorts. People who click off here probably have low attention span and don't care about their health. Let's be honest, like, if you cared about your health enough and you didn't, like, if you've made it in this far in the video so far, good for you. Actually, like, really good for you, because this means you don't give a fuck how boring the video. Jesus, my throat's dry. Good for you. This means you don't give a fuck how boring the video is. You care too much about your health. Like, if you've stayed here this far in the video, this means you don't give a fuck how boring the video is. You care too much about your health to get bored. Like, you know this is valuable information. If you're still here, that is very good on you. So, stay, like, if you have to, like, go, like, do something, like, in the middle, if you have to pause the video and come back to it, like, that's fine, obviously. Like, you don't have to watch the whole, like, how long it is. But definitely good on you for still, like, watching here. So, good on you. You're on the right track with that. But, like, whatever if it gets boring. Whatever if it gets boring. This shit is one of the biggest factors of your health. Whatever if it's boring. It's so important for your health. And, dude, I can't explain it enough. It's so important. So important for your, like, health and longevity and everything. So, like, who cares if it's boring? Who cares if it gets a little bit boring here and there? Like, it's too important. It's too important to get bored over. Okay, fair enough. If you get bored, then that's fine. But don't, like, click off because, oh, it's boring. I want to just get some more dopamine. Like, no. Come on. It's instant delayed gratification. Just finish this video. Like, if you have to pause, obviously, and go somewhere, then that's fine. But come back to it. Finish the video at some point. To make it easier to remember, because no one remembered that mushrooms are a good source of vitamin B2, let's be honest. I didn't either. I was just looking at my notes. Okay. No one remembered that, let's be honest. Unless you took my advice and you took notes like a cool person. Again, good on you. You're on the right track, like taking notes and stuff. That's really good. But no one remembered that without looking at their paper, right? So take notes, because you're not going to want to watch, again, this hour or two long video again, right? Okay. Let's do the minerals. By the way, don't click off. There are major and trace minerals in your body. The major ones are calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphate, potassium, sodium, sulfur. There are a lot more minerals than vitamins, okay? So stay tuned. The trace ones are chromium, copper, there are major and trace minerals. Major minerals means there's a lot more of them. So calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphate, potassium, sodium, sulfur. The trace ones are chromium, copper, fluoride, iodine, iron, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, silicon, and zinc. There's a lot of them. There are other trace minerals known to be essential in tiny, tiny amounts, like very, very trace minerals. These are cobalt, nickel, and vanadium. Let's start with the major minerals. So, calcium. This is going to take forever. Calcium is essential for muscles to move, bone health, and neurotransmitting. Calcium is the most abundant mineral in your body, like scientists found. It makes up, like, a lot of your bones and teeth. So, if you didn't have calcium, you wouldn't be able to move, because you literally couldn't survive without calcium, because your diaphragm wouldn't be able to, like, breathe. so make sure you get your calcium. Calcium is also an electrolyte, along with all the all the major minerals except for sulfur are electrolytes, meaning they have, like, electric charge along with them, so they, like, give you energy. So you need about 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams of calcium per day. No more than 2,500 milligrams. So, like I said, there are a lot more minerals than vitamins in your body. No, you don't eat nearly that many vitamins. So yeah, there's a lot more minerals and vitamins in your body that you need and that are just there already. Good sources of calcium are dairy, which you probably knew, like milk. There's calcium in milk and stuff. Salmon and leafy green vegetables. Chloride. Chloride, another electrolyte, is also called chlorine in the periodic table, which is what they drown pools with. Chloride in foods help maintain the balance of body fluids and acids. So you need roughly 1,800 to 2,300 milligrams of chloride a day. No more than 3.5 grams per day, which is about a teaspoon of salt, which is also 3,500 milligrams. So about a teaspoon of salt is too much. A little more than that, obviously. The only substantial source of chloride is salt, or in other words, sodium chloride. For half of it is chloride. It's chloride. Good source of chloride. Salt. Magnesium. Magnesium is crucial for supporting muscle and nerve function, and energy production also. You need about 300 to 400 milligrams per day to be healthy. There's no upper limit for natural magnesium found in food and water, but supplements and fortified foods, it does. The upper limit is 350 milligrams a day. So you want to consume the upper limit of supplements, but you don't want to consume more than that for supplements, but you can consume more than that for food. The best sources of magnesium are spinach, broccoli, legumes, seeds, and whole grains. Phosphate. Phosphate is also always paired with another element in food, so it's called phosphate in food, but when it's in solid form, it's called phosphorus. It's important for healthy bones and teeth, and it's part of the system that keeps a balance between acid and alkaline in your body. Phosphate should be consumed around 700 milligrams per day, no more than 4,000 milligrams per day. Phosphate is only really found naturally in animal sources, so the good sources of phosphate are meat, poultry, fish, shellfish, eggs, and dairy. Potassium. Potassium, being another electrolyte, like most other major minerals, gives energy. So, potassium is essential for proper fluid balance, nerve transmission, and muscle contraction. You need around 2,000 to 3,500 milligrams per day, and there's no upper limit established, so basically just consume all the potassium you want. Good sources of potassium are meat, dairy, vegetables, fruits such as bananas, like everyone knows, grains, and legumes. Sodium. Sodium is often associated with high blood pressure and heart issues. This is because it's in such high amounts in processed foods and fast food. They pour salts on there, so it's seen as a demon simply because so many people consume over the upper tolerable intake because it's in so much fast food and Western diet and stuff. Sodium is actually essential, and very important for the body when not consumed in tablespoons. Sodium is actually essential for fluid balance, nerve transmission, and muscle contraction. So basically, yeah. Being an electrolyte, it also aids in energy production a little bit. A healthy amount of sodium is around 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams per day, but the most you should be having is 2,300 milligrams, which is exactly a teaspoon of salt. So, you probably knew that, because everyone says, 2,300 milligrams, it says it on the nutrition labels and stuff. So 2,300 milligrams per day, which is exactly a teaspoon of salt, is the upper limit, before you, if you don't consume more than 2,300 milligrams per day, sodium actually has health benefits, not health risks. So, the only substantial source of sodium is salt again, but it is found in low amounts in vegetables, meats, and some other foods. And finally, the last major mineral, sulfur. Sulfur is the only major mineral that's not an electrolyte. If you've ever been to a hot spring or a geyser, Okay, so if you've ever been to a hot spring or a geyser, it has these gases called hydrogen sulfide, and they smell like rotten egg shit. That's where I first learned about sulfur, and I used to think of sulfur as this rotten egg smell, and now I know it as an essential micronutrient that is found with things in protein. With protein, if you're an athlete, which you should call yourself by now, in this space, you probably eat lots of protein. Let's be honest. So you'll have no problem with eating enough sulfur. Sulfur is important for building and repairing DNA and protecting your cells from damage. You should have around 800 to 900 milligrams of sulfur per day. I couldn't find anything that said there was an upper limit, so I'm just going to leave it at don't eat too much or you'll have diarrhea and intestinal problems. The best sources of sulfur are meat, eggs, dairy, poultry, fish, nuts, seeds, and legumes, so all protein sources basically have sulfur. Yeah, right. So anything with good protein has sulfur because sulfur is literally just like, it's found in protein, so in foods. So we're finally done with all the major minerals, and there are lots of trace minerals to remember. So take notes, like I keep saying, this stuff's really important. Take notes because you're not going to remember this. I know you're not. Even if you're like here, like very small amount of people are here, even if there's any. But take notes, because this stuff's important. You're not going to remember. If you're already this far, you are not going to remember any of this shit that you just learned, unless you, learn it a bunch like I have. I've been studying it and stuff. So, chromium, the first trace mineral. Chromium works with insulin to regulate blood sugar levels, so it's pretty good for weight loss. You need around 25 to 35 micrograms per day. Yeah, it's less because it's a trace nutrient. You don't want to take more than... You don't want to take more than 200 micrograms daily. But it's actually not found to be there's actually not found to be an upper limit for for food sources of chromium, but for supplements, you don't want to take more than 200 micrograms daily. Some good sources of chromium are liver, yeast, whole grain, nuts, and cheese. Actually, I'm going to pause this right now because I need a drink of water. Okay, copper. Copper is mainly just needed for iron metabolism and creating hemoglobin, which attaches to your red blood cells to transport oxygen. Copper is part of many enzymes, which are found naturally in your body for digestion. So enzymes make cheese. They convert milk into cheese. That's what makes cheese. The daily recommendation for copper consumption is 900 micrograms per day. So you don't want to have more than 10 milligrams of copper per day, which, that's 10,000 micrograms, so. I just want to clarify, copper doesn't make cheese enzymes do, and copper is found in some enzymes. But it's not in cheese. Natural sources of copper include legumes, nuts, seeds, whole grains, organ meats, and drinking water. So there's some copper in, water. Now, onto the topic of fluoride. So, fluoride in its solo form on the periodic table is called fluorine. Fluoride is found in many toothpastes and fluoride is a neurotoxin that is actually harmful and is a testosterone killer. So, it's found in tiny amounts in some foods and drinks. You're not going to die if you eat a little bit of... You're not going to die if you eat fluoride, but you're not going to, be harmed if you eat, a little bit of some tea or fish. But it's said that you should have 3 to 4 milligrams of fluoride per day. That is way too much, but there's 0.2 to 0.3 milligrams of fluoride in toothpastes, 200 to 300 micrograms of fluoride in toothpaste. So 3 to 4 milligrams is way too much. Fluoride is actually, it's super unhealthy. A lot of people think it's healthy and stuff, and put in, it's anti-cavity, but No, it's like creates a false white that makes you think, oh, your teeth are healthy, but actually they're not because they just got infected with fluoride. So fluoride is not healthy. So you might, I don't know. I mean, fish is healthy. Like a good source of fluoride is water. Sources of fluoride are fluoridated or natural, like just so tap water, teas, and fish. So fish is like healthy, but it has a little bit of fluoride in it. So I don't know. You be the judge of that. But and then tea is probably fine. But then fluoridated water, like the fluoride in water is actually unhealthy. So get like that water filter and stuff. So yeah, like I said, fish is healthy and has like good amount of fluoride in it. So just be the judge. I don't know. Just be the judge. Eat fish if you want. It's probably fine, but yeah, fluoride. Iodine. Iodine is mainly found in thyroid hormones and helps regulate growth, development, and metabolism. The recommended daily amount of iodine is 150 micrograms. The upper limit is around 1,000 micrograms. So there aren't many things with iodine in them. They're seafood, especially seaweed. So seaweed is the best source of iodine. And then there's iodized salt, so it's like iodine just added to salt. And then bread and dairy has a little bit. So seafood, like seaweed especially, and fish, shellfish and stuff. Iodized salt, bread, and dairy is a little bit. Iron deficiency is the most common deficiency of any nutrient worldwide. Mainly because of like chronic diseases, internal bleeding, or honestly just a bad diet also. Iron is essential because it's a part of the molecule hemoglobin, which attaches to red blood cells, which carries oxygen throughout the body. So it's essential for like making hemoglobin, which you need oxygen for. So iron is very like important. More iron is needed when you exercise more because you're using more oxygen and blood. So iron is important for energy metabolism. So you need more iron if you are using more energy, exercising more. Everyone should get around 8 milligrams of iron per day. 8 milligrams you probably should eat more because that's like the average person, and the average person is like fat and lazy. So if you're like active, like which you should be in, if you're like watching this like in this space and stuff, like watching this health stuff, then you probably need a little more than 8 milligrams. But it says 8 milligrams for most people, but there's actually an exception. So menopausal women actually need 18 milligrams of iron daily, but no more than 45 milligrams. That's because like the blood and stuff. The foods with lots of iron in them are meat, especially red meats, fish, poultry, shellfish, especially clams, eggs, and legumes. There's some iron in fruits and veggies, but this is like non-heme iron, so it's a different type of iron, and there's only 2 to 10% of it gets actually absorbed, so it's not as good as a source. So like spinach is a good source of iron, but like it's a good source of like non-heme iron, which it doesn't get all absorbed and stuff. So mainly iron, like good source. These are like animal sources, and then some fruits and veggies and stuff. Manganese. I always get manganese and magnesium mixed up together because they look and sound like so similar. Anyway, manganese is important for forming connective tissue, bones, blood clotting factors, and hormones, testosterone and estrogen. So, important. You need around 1.8 to 2.3 milligrams per day of manganese. You don't want to eat more than 11 milligrams daily. Manganese is a part of many enzymes, which again are little bacteria that are used for digestion. The best sources of manganese are nuts, bread, cereals, green vegetables, and the main source for a lot of people is probably tea, because it's like that's a good source, and a lot of people drink like a lot of tea and stuff, especially in like England. No, I'm kidding. Nuts, bread, cereals, green vegetables, and tea. Molybdenum. Also, I just wanted to say, like, I might sound like a little bit of an NPC here, like, just like, ooh, molybdenum, manganese, oh, this much micrograms, this much, this is what it's in, selenium. I might sound like an NPC right now, but I'm just, I don't know how to make this, like, entertaining, so I'm just, like, trying to give you information. Just fight through your urge to, like, click off, because I sound like an NPC, and it's, like, repetitive and shit, but it's important. Molybdenum is also a part of some enzymes, like manganese. You need molybdenum for processing proteins and genetic material like RNA and DNA. So the daily recommendation for molybdenum is around 45 micrograms per day, no more than 2,000 micrograms or 2 milligrams. Good sources of molybdenum are legumes, grains, leafy green vegetables, milk, and liver meats. Selenium. Selenium is also my camera's like kind of low on battery, so I'm just gonna like hurry up a little bit. Selenium is another antioxidant. So selenium is an antioxidant, meaning it fights against free radicals, which are free electrons trying to damage your cells. Selenium also helps make DNA and prevent some cancers. It also helps with endocrine and immune health. So the recommendation is that you have 55 micrograms per day, no more than 400 micrograms though. And the best source of selenium by far is Brazil nuts. Way far is Brazil nuts. The average Brazil nut has 96 micrograms of selenium. Let me say that sentence again. The average Brazil nut, one Brazil nut, has 2 times the daily value. 200% the daily value in one Brazil nut. One average Brazil nut. It's 2 times the daily value. The amount you need. So, you can only eat 4 Brazil nuts per day until it becomes over the, upper limit. Before it's, a health risk. But some Brazil nuts, though, can actually go up to 400 micrograms per day. So some Brazil nuts have the maximum amount of selenium you should have in a day. In one nut. One nut has the maximum amount of selenium you can have in a day. Some of them. One nut, though. Some of them, though. Only some of them. Yeah, Brazil nuts aren't even comparable to any other source of selenium. But if you don't eat Brazil nuts, other good sources of selenium are meat, seafood, grains, and walnuts. Silicon. Silicon is necessary for the synthesis of collagen and elastin, which are both proteins needed for elasticity in skin, hair, and blood vessels. You need around 9 to 14 milligrams of silicon daily, and you can't really consume too much through the diet because the excess is excreted out through your urine. So the best sources of silicon are whole grains, fruits, veggies, nuts, and legumes. So basically just plant sources. And finally, the final trace mineral is zinc. Zinc is very important because it is needed for making protein and genetic material. So it has a function, but it also has a function in taste perception and wound healing, also normal fetal development, and reproductive and immune health. Zinc is needed at around 8 to 11 milligrams per day, but the upper limit is 40 milligrams. The best sources of zinc are meat, especially red meat, shellfish, especially oysters. So oysters are the best source. So meat, red meat, shellfish, especially oysters, but meat just in general. Dairy, cereal products such as wheat germ. So don't worry, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. now on to the really trace minerals. The really trace ones. Cobalt. Cobalt is a component of vitamin B12, hence the name cobalamin, like C-O-B-A-L, amin. So it's cobalt, amin, but it doesn't. There's no T. So it's like kind of a bit cobalt. So cobalamin. You get plenty of cobalt if you get plenty of B12. So make sure you get your meats, dairy, eggs, poultry, fish, and shellfish in. You only need 5 to 8 micrograms of cobalt, which some of is cobalamin. So some of that is like cobalamin, and then the rest is like just a cobalt that's just separate, not in cobalamin. Foods other than animal products that have cobalt, so the cobalt, are nuts, leafy green vegetables, figs, and whole grains. Figs aren't that healthy because they're high in sugar and they don't have much fat. Like they're very high in sugar, so just like be careful of figs and stuff. Nickel is involved with like chemical reactions within you and may help with iron metabolism. You need around 20 to 30 micrograms of nickel per day, no more than 1 milligram, which I don't think will be a problem. Good sources of nickel are whole grains, cocoa, like chocolate, but not like the kind with sugar and stuff, but cocoa, tea, gelatin, so like gelatin, which is usually in like candy, but it can be in not candy, but usually it's in like gummies and stuff. But don't eat gummies, right? Because they have sugar and shit. Really unhealthy. Legumes and dark green vegetables. And finally, the last mineral here. Vanadium. We're finally on the last micronutrient of this entire video. Man, this video's might be I think this is the longest video I've ever recorded. And this video is long. Vanadium is used by the body for blood sugar regulation and improving insulin sensitivity in people with type 2 diabetes. Scientists actually don't know how much vanadium the body needs, but they know you shouldn't have more than 1.8 milligrams per day. The average diet does consume around 6 to 18 micrograms, though. So since we should have an above average diet by now, we probably consume more than enough vanadium. But although vanadium isn't in like expected food, like isn't in a lot of expected foods, like normal foods, like it's in kind of some weird shit. But maybe even if you have like a good diet, maybe you don't even consume a lot of vanadium because like it's in kind of some weird foods. So the best sources of vanadium are mushrooms and shellfish. Those are the only like normal ones. Those are the only normal foods it's in. And then like mushrooms and shellfish, which I don't eat either of those. And then there's black pepper, parsley, and dillweed. So like spices. Some grain products are a decent source, but all the other good sources of vanadium are unhealthy, though. So they're like beer, wine, and artificially sweetened drinks, which are not healthy at all. They have vanadium. Now someone's gonna say while they're like drinking beer at the pub or their diet Pepsi on the couch watching Rick and Morty. Oh well, I'm just trying to get my vanadium. Shut the fuck up, bro. Eat some mushrooms, bro. Eat some fucking mushrooms, bro. Come on, bro. You're not getting your vanadium with your beer at the pub and your Diet Coke on the couch. Like, Coke Zero it's like, oh, I'm getting my vanadium in. Oh, I'm just getting my vanadium. Shut up, bro, okay? Eat some mushrooms, alright? Eat some, like, oysters and shit. Come on. Jeez, like, people are such copes. Like, people are such copes with food and, like, just, like, in general, like, cope like with any like suggestion, anything that's like unhealthy, like, and they're like, oh well, it has like vanadium. Is like, shut up, bro. It's not healthy. You're just coping. Like, shut up, bro. Jesus, some people did, but that's a long video. I think this might be the longest video I've ever recorded so far in my lifetime, like on YouTube. But yeah. I mean, long video, but if you're somehow here, this great for you, because this video probably got a little bit boring for you, because, I mean, it was a little bit repetitive. Let's be honest, like, it was a little bit repetitive and boring, but, like, great on you if you're still here, and, yeah, that means you really respect yourself and care about your health. So if you're somehow here, which I doubt there's many, or anyone here, I might just be talking to no one, but if there's some people here, then really good on you. That's really good for your health. But, oh, did you take notes? Did you take notes? Be sure you take notes, because you did not remember. You might have remembered a couple things. Like, if you don't look at your notes, you didn't remember that. Dude, I'm trying to remember even. You probably didn't remember that nuts are a good source of copper. Like, you probably didn't remember that, but just without looking at your notes. But notes, it'll make you remember so you don't have to watch this 2-hour-long video again, or whatever it is. I don't know actually how long I've been recording, but probably almost 2 hours. But, yeah. Peace out. See you in the next video.